Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the community day that's going to happen tomorrow for Rowlet or also then Decidueye. So today we're going to take a look at what is happening in general tomorrow, the IVs that you kind of want to hunt for, which is most likely most interesting for most people. But then we're also going to take a look at 6 different teams, 3 for the Great League / the Great League Remix Cup, and 3 for the Ultra League for the Decidueye, so you can definitely prepare for this community day with this video. If you enjoy this one, feel free to leave a like. Would really appreciate some support on the channel. Now let's take a look immediately at the next slide here. We're going to take a look at the general information here. We have some graphics that I just cut together a little bit here for the sake of putting the most interesting stuff for my channel, at least on this one. We're going to have here the Rowlet community day from the 6th of January till the 6th of January. That's great, from 2 PM to 5 PM. We're going to have the PvP IVs that are like the rank 1 variants of this one. We're going to take a look a little bit at like different kind of IV splits as well later on, so definitely stay tuned for this. But yeah, we're going to have 0, 14, 11 for Great League and 0, 14, 13 for the Ultra League. And of course, for Master League, you always need a 100% variant. Otherwise, let's take a look here at the special move Frenzy Plant. As like every kind of grass type starter, you're going to be able to get this move. A very strong grass type move, 45 energy, very like decently cheap, I guess, as well. Plus, you're gonna get Spirit Shackle, which is an okay-ish move. It's like 40 energy, 50 damage, has a 33% chance to debuff the opponent's defense, I think. But yeah, again, this is going to be a move that is going to be not as crazy interesting, which you're going to see later on as well. You have one extra special trait. You're going to have 3 hours of instants and lures 3 times Stardust for catching Pokemon, which is the most interesting bonus of them all. So this is kind of the most interesting things for this community day. Here you see the shinies on the left side as well. Very cool shinies in my opinion, especially like the first evolution there, like the first Rowlet there basically. The Decidueye also looks really cool though, so I'm kind of hyped for this kind of Pokemon as well. Definitely going to play this community day a little bit. And let's move on to the IVs. Let's take a look here first at the IVs for the Open Great League. Here we're going to see some kind of interesting points that you might think about, which you kind of want to hit. You're going to have a list of PvP IVs that you kind of want to have for this one as well. But you have, for example, for 125.25 attack, you're going to be able to win the one-shot scenario against Toxic Rogue if you only have like Leafage plus the Frenzy Plant, which is kind of funny, because you're going to be able to hit it with a Frenzy. Frenzy does like 1 more damage, and this is something that happened quite a bit for the Decidueye. I did, by the way, the entire PvP IV deep dive here basically on my own. Swag Tips, who I used the video towards as well, made a video about how to do this kind of stuff, so I did here for the first time on my own. If you want to see more of this kind of stuff, or like maybe events for like certain Pokemon, then let me know in the comment section as well. I would be able to do a little bit more of this kind of stuff now as well, with a little bit more in depth. Takes a lot of time though, so feel free to leave a like as well. This is quite a lot of work, but yeah, otherwise you're going to have here that you can win actually if you have a little bit of attack investment, kind of similar to a Toxic Rogue there as well. You can win the Zero Shield scenario against Pelipper because of 1 extra damage from Frenzy Plant as well, so like that's kind of funny as well. Like you don't actually have breakpoints directly with a fast move, which is usually what's happening, but here it's because you do 1 more damage with the Frenzy Plant, which would help you out against like those rank 1 IV spreads of Pelipper / Toxic Rogue. It's always against rank 1 here, so there might be even like chances that the opponent doesn't have a rank 1, does have like one with a little bit less bulk, and you would be able to do even a little bit more for that. Brave Bird is most likely preferred Brave Bird is most likely preferred if you have the grass type fast move, for example like Leafage. Magical Leaf you could run as well, but you don't really want to. And higher attack stat would also help you to flip the Zero Shields against the Trevenant if you run Spirit Shackle. But also there is a bulk point for Trevenant at 117.88 bulk or like defense here. This would be, for example, the 0, 14, and 2 spread here, which you're going to take a look at as well. This would actually be most likely the, in my opinion, most preferred move, like IV spread that you could have for this Pokemon. It is not that different towards like what you usually have as well. Like you could also just argue of going for the rank 1 variant. You could argue for going a little bit of a defense investment. I would enjoy that as well. Like something like 0, 15, 10 would be decent. It's I think like the rank 2 or something like this, or rank 4. Those definitely going to be fine. But if you want to have like some freaky IVs, this one would be the one for you, the 0, 14, 2, because for the Leafage, you're going to be able to beat Pelipper in the Zero Shields, which I talked about before. You win the Toxic Rogue in the 1 shield scenario as well, which I also talked about before. You don't really lose anything there. I think you lose in the 2 shield scenario against something. I think either Jellicent or Superior with this one, but like again, it's going to be a little bit dependent anyway. And then for Astonish, if you want to run Astonish in the Great League, you're going to be able to actually win the one-shield scenario. It was Vigoroth as well as Azumarill, which I feel like is like really important matchups. And the two-shield scenario against Trevenant, which is also a pretty important matchup. So yeah, like depending on what kind of fast move you want to run, I would definitely look at those spreads. Like if you get like one for 0, 14, 2, that would be really good for you. Or like even the other ones that are in here as well. But if you don't get them, so be it. Like this is like high defense stat, low low attack and low stamina, which is definitely something that you can look forward to. For the Ultra League, it's pretty fast. Like it is not really something where you really have to look into it. There are some breakpoints and bulk points that I saw that might be a little bit interesting, but honestly, like it's not really the case. Like the most important, like the most interesting one here was the one-shot scenario against the Skeledirge, where with Astonish, if you want to run this, plus the other Spirit Shackle there, basically, you would be able to win this matchup in the one-shot scenario if you have a 077 IV spread with 166.2 attack, and this is very specific, but allows you to win this variant though. But I would just recommend you to go for the best IV spread that you can get, like whatever you want here is basically top 15 of the bulk IV spread basically. Just go for whatever you get, basically. I would not really recommend you to go for a specific one here. For the Great League, you could definitely argue for going for a specific one there with a little bit more defense, but Ultra League seems to be just the plain best IV spread that you should use for it. So, let's take a look at the teams here. We're going to have the first team here. It's going to be all kind of similar style, though, because it's like a Pokemon that is very in a specific way to be played. And here we're going to have the first one. It's going to be the bait, basically. Everybody expects you to run the Trevenant as your say swap, but here we're going to run the Decidueye, giving you a little bit better matchups against Pokemon like Lickitung or something like Vigoroth as well. And so you're going to be able to bait out potential Pokemon that you might, which might want to go up against, for example, your Trevenant. And so you have a great bait for the Trevenant to sweep on later. Here you have the Bastion in the lead. Trevenant Bastion is not allowed for the Remix Cup, so I have some alternatives here. For the lead, you can have something like the Carbink or the Magnezone, or like something like the Togedemaru. Issue with them though is that you're going to always have a little bit of a weakness. For Magnezone, you're going to have a weakness against something like the fire type Talonflame, which is banned, so never mind, don't mind me there. But you have a little bit of a fire type weakness if you're going to encounter some fire types. So with this one, for Carbink, you're going to have a weakness against the Pokemon Skarmory, which might be a little bit tricky. In the back, you can use the Shadow Victory Bell as well, and you can have a Grass Hole lineup here, which would be kind of strong. Next team number 2, we're going to have this Cannon reversed again. We're going to have an option for the what's called Remix Cup here as well, with the Magnezone in the back basically. Here we're going to have though the variant for the Great League real quick with the Lantern in the back. Lantern looks a little bit better as well, as you're going to see here as well. Lantern plus Decidueye is a great core. Decidueye actually has some great matchups in the Great League as well. Would imagine that it's kind of decent to play, but again, like Trevenant is kind of most likely a little bit better because of the better fast move of this Pokemon. But still, this team looks like a lot of fun, should work out pretty well as well. And again, if you want to run this team in the Remix Cup, go ahead and go for the Magnezone over the Lantern. Team number 3, going to be an OG team as well, again for the Great League here, but again for some options for the current Remix Cup. We're going to have the Stunfisk in the lead, the Sableye and the Decidueye in the back. Basically, you have two Ghost types in the back, so you're going to get out most likely your Lickitung or whatever with your Sableye of the Sableye, and then you're going to have in the back the Decidueye to sweep endgame. But what you can do here as well, if you want to run this in the Remix Cup, you can go ahead and go for the Dugong instead of the Galarian Stunfisk in the lead. You can use, in my opinion, maybe even better than the Superior is the Surfetch as a Say Swap. Surfetch Say Swap looks really solid in the current meta as well for this kind of stuff. But yeah, this team looks really great in the Open Great League again. Could have a little bit of a tricky time against the Gligar, but so be it. This is going to be it for this one. And now we're going to take a look at 3 teams for the Ultra League. First one, Ultra League bait, again, kind of similar style to what you see in the Great League. We're going to have a Regirock in the lead, something like a Bastion basically for the Ultra League. We're going to also have the option to have something like a Lantern there, but then say swap of the Decidueye. You could argue of going for the Astonish as well here. The preferred moveset is Leafage, Frenzy Plant as well as Brave Bird. But in the back, we're going to have the Trevenant, which is going to be a very solid pick again. You can bait out potential Pokemon that would answer the Trevenant and then try to sweep endgame. But again, it's going to be a little bit of a trickier one for you to play this one in the Ultra League. I feel like the Decidueye is way better in the Great League compared to the Ultra League, but let's move on to the team number 2. Team number 2, we're going to have an interesting one here as well. We're going to have the Astonish variant here, but we have like is a reversed variant of the first one. We're going to have Astonish, Spirit Shackle, as well as Frenzy Plant. If you use Astonish, I would also recommend you to go for Spirit Shackle in my opinion. But yeah, it's down to you. You can also still go for Brave Bird if you want to. But we're going to have here as well the Regirock as a Say-Sop and the Auroras in the back, allowing you to have some answers against some of your hardest weaknesses. And as you can see here right now on screen, it looks really solid. You can even beat the Jellicent usually with the Decidueye. So this team looks like a lot of fun and should work out pretty well. Regirock Say-Sop is a little bit tricky. I think it learns Zapcan. If it learns Zapcan, I might even would go for it over the Focus Blast, but you do you. Like, I feel like you have to have some coverage here for the flying types that are very solid in the current Ultra League meta. Final one for today, we're going to take a look at the one where you have the Decidueye as a closest, a little bit more of a, I don't know, a little bit more of a less bulky team, a little bit of a less yeah, rock type issue team there. We're going to have here the Lapras in the lead, the Verzian with the rock move here, the Stone Edge as a Say-Sop, and then we're going to have the Decidueye in the back trying to sweep endgame. It is not most likely the best team here that you can use. It's a little bit tricky against Talonflame as well, especially a little bit tricky against something like even Jellicent can beat you here, or Tentacruel would be a little bit tricky, but yeah, it is what it is. It's a little bit tricky to build a team around this Decidueye. In total, like, it's most likely something like a B-tier community day in terms of the Pokemon that we're getting. Definitely still a solid Pokemon to get, and alternative for Trevenant, or if you have both of them in the team, it definitely could work out pretty well. We're going to take a look at this Pokemon for sure on this channel as well, so feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.